All right, welcome back to Become a Calm Mama. I am your host. I'm Darlene Childress. I am a life and parenting coach. And today I'm going to get a little personal on the pod. I have my best friend who's also a therapist with me, Tiffany. You want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
So Tiffany Hausum is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's a certified life coach. She's trained in all the things. I mean, you're trained in so many things.
So many things.
And we've been friends for almost 20 years, and she's been a big part of my journey as a parent. And I wanted to bring her on because I want to talk about some things that are a little bit personal, a little bit private, things maybe I haven't shared on the pod before, just about my childhood. And, I'm already getting a little shaky.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's vulnerable, right?
Yeah. So Tiff's created a really safe place for me all throughout the years of my healing journey as a mom. And yeah, I just thought it would be nice to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So what we're going to talk about is how the childhood trauma that I experienced informed my parenting, mm-hmm. and then a little bit about my journey in recovering from that trauma.
Yeah.
And so we're framing most of our conversation using what's called ACEs. So do you want to share what that is just a little bit?
ACEs is a questionnaire that asks some, there's 9 questions, mm-hmm. Asking questions about your childhood, and what they found that there's a correlation between your ACEs score and outcomes later in life related to your health, including like how long you live, mm-hmm. addiction, health-related issues. So there's just a strong correlation between that. What Darlene and I have also talked about is it doesn't mean that it is a sentence that you... there's opportunities to shift out of the chronic stress that happens in childhood when you go through these. We're going to go through the ACE questionnaire, and you'll see the types of stress mm-hmm. that kids can be under and can continue for their whole lives.
Yeah, totally. And it's like you said, your ACEs score is not a sentence in terms of, because you have these terrible things happen to you, you're screwed.
Right, exactly.
It's like, no, this is just data and information to understand maybe why you're showing up the way you're showing up as a parent mm-hmm. or in your life. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she's gonna like rapid fire the questions so that you guys can hear the questions in the ACE survey. And then, and ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experience.
Right.
So it kind of, I think there's 10 questions of different childhood experiences that you may have had, and you just say yes or no, whether you've had them or not. So Tiff's going to ask them of me, and then I'm going to share my ACEs.
Okay, first question. Did you feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, or had no one to protect or take care of you?
Yes, we definitely grew up poor, a single mom, 4 kids. And there was a lot of times when there wasn't enough food. When I was really young, we had to have like the whole government cheese thing they used to do in the 80s. And yeah, there was definitely times where there wasn't food. We didn't have laundry in our house, so I had to wear dirty clothes. It was all very shameful. Yep.
Okay. Question 2. Did you lose a parent through divorce, abandonment, death, or other reason?
Yes. So my parents divorced when I was 4. And then my dad was in my life until I was about 8. And then he ran from the FBI, this crazy story, and abandoned our family. And I didn't hear from him until I was 30 years old. So he left when I was 8. And then we went into reunion when I was 30. So for 22 years, I had no idea where he lived mm-hmm. or if he was alive or anything.
Okay. Question 3, did you live with anyone who was depressed, mentally ill, or attempted suicide?
Yes, because my ACEs score is very high. So third number, and the answer is yes. My mom was untreated, clinically depressed for most of my childhood. She went on Prozac when I turned 18, and it changed her life and changed our whole family. But up until that, she was in major depressive episodes. And then as well as recently, we've realized that she probably had ADHD. And so it also created chaos because she didn't know how to like manage kind of all the stuff.
Right. It's a lot to deal with for sure. Yeah. Question 4. Did you live with anyone who had a problem with drinking or using drugs, including prescription drugs?
Yes. So not to, break anyone's anonymity, but there are people in my family that I grew up with that have, addiction. And my mom was also in relationships with, my stepdad was an alcoholic, and he was very abusive verbally to me, which goes into another number. So yeah, definitely lots of drugs, alcohol, all sorts of stuff like that.
Question 5, did your parents or adults in your home ever hit, punch, beat, or threaten to harm each other?
This one is tricky because not so much like this is more around domestic violence if you witnessed it with other family members.
Yeah.
But there was like, I did feel like my mom was always in danger with the men that she was in relationships with. And so there was like this veil of threat. So I don't ever really know how to answer that one.
Right. But just this underlying sense of not safe.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Number 6. Did you live with anyone who went to jail or prison?
No.
There's your no.
There's my one no.
Okay. Number 7. Did a parent or adult in your home ever swear at you, insult you, or put you down?
Yes, my stepdad was incredibly cruel to me and was just a horrible person. And he lived with us from the time I was 8th grade until senior in high school. So all those teen years, he was really, really terrible.
Okay. Number 8, did a parent or adult in your home ever hit, beat, kick, or physically hurt you in any way?
Yes. So other step-parents, stepfathers, earlier. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Number 9, did you feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were special? This is my other no, because that is one thing that I talk about is like my mom's unconditional love and like this like treasure that she had in me, I think was such a salve throughout my whole childhood that in some ways it almost was like a healing balm throughout those years because I just felt like she just delighted in me. Aww. I could just sense that all the time.
And that was a constant for you. Number 10, final question. Did you experience unwanted sexual contact?
You don't have to go into that, but so I was assaulted as a child and had to do a lot of work to heal from that. For sure. Oh, I know. So there's my score. There's my score.
8, right? 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Yeah. So, what I think is interesting about ACEs is that, like, maybe you listened to those questions and you had a couple numbers if you're listening to the pod, and you might go like, oh, well, I'm not as fucked up as Darlene, so I have nothing to complain about, or. Oh, and I didn't have any of those things, but I still, feel unsettled in my life. And it doesn't mean that you don't have stress or that you don't have struggles because your ACEs score isn't high, or maybe it's really high and you feel really embarrassed right now or overwhelmed. If that's the case, just stop the podcast, go take care of yourself.
Yeah. And I think also we'll get to it, but that we will talk about ways of feeling better, healing. So if you can hang in there, there's good stuff.
Yeah, good. The first time I took the ACEs score, I was actually at when I was doing my parent training in nonviolent communication, nonviolent parenting, and they had us do it. And I was like in shock. I knew like I had all these adverse childhood experiences, but I had never seen it like a list. Like, here are the 10 ways kids get fucked up in childhood, and then how were you, and then to have it scored like that, and then be told like any number higher than 4 is, extreme or, high risk. I really was, it was tough. It was rough to see it and hear it.
I can imagine. How did you take that in, and what'd you do with it?
Well, I was in an environment of like trauma-informed space. And so when we did it, there was there were people there to talk about, the results. And I think it was, we kind of wrapped that day up, and I went home, and, I came home. I had little kids at the time, but I cried and just kind of really grieved a lot of my childhood in a new way. Yeah. But it gave me also, I think, besides like the grief and shock of it, it also gave me a perspective of, I don't know, like that I had gone through all those things and I was still okay. I'm not grateful, right. But like I just was like, oh, okay, like this happened. These were hard things, and but I'm okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and the fact that you were in a class learning to do something differently too.
Learning how to parent. Yeah.
Well, learning how to parent and not bring what you had learned from parenting forward. Maybe keeping the delight and love that your mom showed you, but
without all the other things.
Yeah. And so I just know Darlene and I met when our boys were like two. And I remember meeting you, and, from the outside, like you were someone who presented as so confident and had it all together and knew what you were doing. And I think you looked at me and you were like, oh my gosh, that woman needs help.
Her son was just like, you all have some of these spirited children that are very, very high, high energy, big personalities. Yeah.
Yes. So when did it first come up in you that you realized, like, oh, I need some help here?
Well, really, I mean, I've shared this on the pod before, but when Lincoln was 4, he was having these like crazy meltdowns. He was starting to get trouble in preschool. He was aggressive. He put sand in Elsa's eye, around that time, your daughter. And he was aggressive towards his little brother. And I felt so like, I remember this one moment where he hit me and I hit him back, and I just was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I just felt so terrible. And I was screaming all the time. And it was like secret shaming, thing. I actually remember this one time you and we had this little group called MoFib. It was mothers of firstborn boys.
Yes.
We made it up. And we would get together with some other friends of ours. And I said to Tiff, I said to the group, I was like, I just feel like a victim sometimes, like I'm being abused by my son. And we walked out of that restaurant, and then we were in the parking lot, and you said to me, hey, that's not normal. And you said, you don't have to feel that way. Something more might be going on with Lincoln or you. And I drove home that night and I was like, oh, I never knew what was normal. That's the thing about having a high ACEs score is you don't know what's normal, what's not. You don't know what's good, what's bad. Where are you okay? Where are you not? It's very hard to gauge because I had no mental map of like positive parenting.
Right.
And so when, someone you trust says, hey, it might be outside of norm here, I was like, oh, maybe I need some help. And that's kind of the catalyst for me, was you saying, you don't have to feel this way.
Right.
This isn't normal, but not in like a judgmental way, just really loving.
Yeah. Because I remember I don't remember at what point this was, but I remember you going to some workshop and then doing parenting classes, like the nonviolent parenting, which was always like, has always impressed me about Dar, is that she, like, when she realizes there's something she wants to work on, or some system isn't working, she like figures it out like no one I've ever met before. And so all of a sudden you were doing the work you needed to do.
Yeah.
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 And that, and you've kept doing it.
Yep. I went to like my first parenting workshop, and I just was like, I'm going to learn everything I could ever learn about this. And in typical style for me, I also, as soon as I learn something, share it with everybody I know, because I can't stop talking. So yeah, of course, then every one of my friends is now like,
exactly. We all did at the classes.
Yeah, for sure.
All the workshops.
But yeah, there was this one workshop that I did that really kind of was my first like inner child work.
Yeah.
And I went to it and talking about what was happening for me when Lincoln was being aggressive is that I would feel like I was being attacked, that I was in danger. That
Right.
And I don't think consciously I made this decision, but as a little kid, 12, 13, I kind of created this armor of like, no one is ever going to hurt me.
Yeah.
And it was probably the beginning of my vigilance. And then I have a kid, and my kid is hurting me.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, because he's 4, but like he's also kicking and hitting, and you know, and I just didn't know how to protect myself without protecting myself. I didn't know how to. Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, that part of you rose up. It didn't matter who was in front of you. That part was going to protect you no matter what.
Yeah.
We have those adaptive skills, right? Like when we're kids and we're going through difficult things, we develop these systems of protecting ourselves, and it is about survival. Yeah,
it's like we have these beautiful coping strategies. It's why when I talk about parenting, I'm always saying, like, well, your children, they're doing the behavior because there's some sort of inherent wisdom or care there, or strategy to cope.
Yeah.
And we can give them better tools.
Yeah.
But for me, whatever I developed as a kid, those were strategies that served me, that helped me like make good decisions, and not see myself as a victim, not see myself as empowered.
Right, 100%.
But then when you're a parent, that power doesn't really serve you anymore.
Right.
Like it's not, you don't want to I didn't want to power over.
Right. You didn't want to be treating your kid that way.
Yep.
Yeah. But didn't know how to do it differently, right?
Yeah. So I had to drop a lot of those strategies and learn new ones for sure. And I think in general, like the way that those adverse childhood experiences, that trauma showed up for me, is that I didn't really ever develop like an internal locus of control or self security.
Yeah. I
never really felt safe in my body or in my environment, in my relationships. Everything always felt dangerous. So I was constantly seeking the security.
Right. The sense of control. Right. Yeah.
Outside of myself, like through other means.
Yeah.
And also, like, I guess it would be perfectionism, but it wasn't like, I just tried to figure out what's the only way, what's the way that I can be okay.
Right.
And what are the rules, and how are you supposed to live?
Right.
And if I followed all the rules and I figured it out and I cracked the codes in every environment, like how do you take care of a house? How do you feed yourself? What are you supposed to wear? How are you supposed to look? How are you supposed to talk?
Yeah.
I just felt like I never really knew how to do any of those things, but if I could figure them out, then I could be safe.
Right. It's so much work. I hear you say this, like there's so much energy and work, and I guess, I don't know if it felt this way to you, but it sounds stressful too, to like constantly be having to work so hard for your safety, for a sense of control.
Yeah. It's like I think of it as the monitor, right? It's like this internal manager or monitor who's constantly evaluating me in comparison to my environment.
Right.
Do I need to take more power here to feel better? Or do I need to be less than myself in order to be accepted?
Yeah.
So the internal feeling of belonging, the internal feeling of security was absent.
Right. It was coming from the outside.
From the outside.
Yeah.
So then you have kids. And
gosh,
it's like there's so little.
Yeah.
There's so little that we have to. We can't. They're humans. They're children. They're immature.
Right.
And so it's like, whenever they were loud, whenever they hit, whenever that I had to make a decision about where they should go to school or where should we live or what enrichment and all these decisions, and I'm never feeling like I know what to do. I don't know what's right, and what is everyone else doing, and how do I know?
Right.
And then their behavior, of course, it's like I don't know how to parent. I don't know how to not yell at them. So then I'd yell and I'd feel shame, and then I'd beat myself up, but then I'd be like, but they're bad, and I just all in my head.
Yeah. And then feeling like, again, like, I don't know that this was true for you, but I'm just thinking about like when you feel out of control and then you're trying to control your environment and then you're trying to control your kids, and it's just a recipe for disaster because like you can't control your kids.
If I want to ruin their nervous system with fear, then I can.
You can. Yeah.
Yes, because I was controlled.
Yeah.
Right? In the chaos, but in certain aspects, adults treated me poorly in order for them to feel whatever they needed to feel, and really kind of preset my nervous system at high cortisol. And I don't want to do that. I know people listening to this podcast, you mama who's sitting in your car, wherever you are, you're like, no, that's me. I don't want to fuck my kids up. It's the thing we don't want to do.
It's the thing we don't want to do. And we can have like the best intentions not to do that. And then we're triggered by something and it brings that old wound up or that old stress response. And then we're in it. We're doing the thing that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
That's why Dar's work is so important for real.
No, it's for sure because it's like my insecurity. Well, I mean, let's say this. When you don't have like healthy parents, you actually really don't know what to do.
No, there's no template.
No. So that's why I created the Calm Mama process, as I call it now, because I really needed a template for myself and my family to figure out how we should do it.
Yeah.
And, of course it's helped me and like, at this point, thousands of people.
Yeah.
But for me, I wanted to create a template that actually focused on emotional health.
Right.
It wasn't just around behavior modification.
Totally.
Yeah. And that a big part of it is calm. That's why this podcast is called Become a Calm Mama, and the programs are all about that.
Yeah.
Because to me, the calm in my programs is the emotional healing, and then like the reparenting that happens in order to heal from our adverse childhood experiences, from our trauma.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So are there other ways that you would like to mention that you've touched on a lot, so this isn't like you should, but did your trauma show up in other ways for you throughout the years?
Well, I mean, I could talk about within parenting and then also with outside of parenting, but I definitely have in recovery for eating disorder, and I've talked about it on the pod, so you guys know. And there's episode coming out with Victoria Yates where we talk about it even more. But I think for me, some of the trauma, I had a lot of disassociation in my childhood, and so that means I would separate from my body and I would disconnect from my environment in order to feel safe. But then when I was disconnected from my environment, I was in danger.
Right.
Because then I'm not in vigilance. So for me, the eating disorder stuff is like just this toggle between disconnecting from my body just enough, but also aware. So this like space of hunger, it's very weird, but this little space of hunger that I toggle right at is like sort of my safest space. Right. That's so weird to share on the parenting podcast, but so with like, that's kind of in other ways too, like maybe in friendships, I can see sometimes I'm very people pleasing. I want to make sure I'm liked, I fit.
Yeah.
If I don't feel safe, I back off real quick. If I don't feel like my kids are safe in an environment, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that just that high sense of vigilance.
Yeah. I hear that for sure. So how you've done the parenting workshops, the parenting classes, you've read so much. What else? How else have you healed?
Well, I think about when I was doing some research, not research, but like prepping for this, I was thinking about like what it is that I was afraid of repeating in my family. Like, what am I avoiding? What am I not running away from, but what is it that I don't want to recreate?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously the list is, I have it here. Like, it was like abandonment, depression, drugs, threat of violence, putting my kids down, hurting them, not letting them feel loved, and then keeping their body safe from sexual abuse.
Right.
All the aces, right? Definitely wanted to make sure I touched on all those. But for me, I felt like I grew up in a chaotic environment, like unpredictable.
Yeah.
And uncontrolled.
Right.
And that is really the core of stress.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like when you feel unsafe, if you feel unsafe and you feel like you aren't sure what's going to happen, and you're in that vigilant state.
Yeah.
So I was really focused on like not having chaos in our family. And I married a very metronome type of person.
Very stable.
Very stable. Like the most stable. And I was drawn to that in my 20s because I was looking for a model of like, how do you do that? And so I wanted to have them feel safe and that they could know that their world was predictable and that their world was reliable and that they had agency. Yeah. And I felt like, of course, my mom didn't really yell. I wish she did actually, because she just felt like so not there. And like also like a child.
Like you didn't have a grown up in the house.
No grown up. Yeah. So I think I yelled almost to demonstrate strength,
right,
and power,
right.
But I didn't really want to have an environment where my children were powered over that way.
Right.
Of course, wanted to protect them from, being shamed, being rid, being like their self-esteem being attacked.
Yeah.
So when I was making my parenting decisions, it's like, okay, these are, like I always say, emotional health was my parenting goal. It's like my standards were lower in other areas because everything trumped their well-being, their emotional well-being. And maybe to a fault, I don't know, but I just wanted them to feel safe and held and cared for. Yeah.
And like you and Kevin were providing already so much of that. Like you had a stable place to live, you could put food on the table, you had clean clothes, like you had all those basic needs met. So it was, the emotional part, that the emotional well-being, their mental health.
Yeah. I mean, I never got too crazy about having them be like in sports or they're going to be excellent at anything. Right. I don't know. I didn't really have it in me to I wanted everything to be simple and flow, and anything sort of outside, too extreme, it didn't feel good in those, especially those early years when I was still doing so much of my healing work. Because I started this level of work when Lincoln was 4, well, pretty much 5. Yeah. And he's 19, so 15 years. Yeah. So of course I'm in such a different place now. If I had another baby, I'm not having one. But if I had a baby now, of course I might have a different capacity.
For sure.
But at those years, I needed to establish routines. Yeah. Like, these are some of the things that I did to make make it so that I could heal my nervous system within parenting and parent them without creating pain. So having routines, like kind of we come home, we put our things away, we have a snack, just all that predictability. It was reparenting me. It was really safe for me.
That makes sense.
And I mean, maybe to too much extreme, possibly, like with naps when they're little, we all get so...
I think that's just...
we get so... Like, if they don't nap now, they're going to not be good tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
But I just think about it now, like how much those types of, routines, traditions, bringing meaning, trying to find, the family table... I think you and I both did this, but like we would light a candle at dinner to signify that dinner was starting, and that's when we were focused. And so, highs and lows, the roses and thorns, those little games you play, because I was so seeking family, but there was a little bit of rigidity in it early on. And I'm not judging it, but I can see that it was a strategy that I was using to heal. And there's a lot of beauty in it. And
there is a lot of beauty in it. I think, as parents, and it's all new to us, we're looking for, like, how do we do this? Right? Like, how do we create what we want? And sometimes we don't even know what we want, So, I think it's understandable when we can go a little bit into rigidity and then move out of it and
find the flexibility. So really simplifying our life was really important to me. Working on my mental health, I spent a lot of time journaling, reading books, doing workbooks you would get, and I would do them. I would read the parenting book and answer all the questions and spend that time. I didn't have to work outside the home, so that was a huge blessing. And I could, instead of focus on homemaking or, maybe like my working out or something like that, I would just really spend time working on my mental health a lot.
You were almost dedicated to that.
Kind of kooky levels. I did 40 days of silence. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that. No, but it was always you would make a decision. It was always impressive. And you would have a real intention behind it and you would do it. Yeah, I'd
be like, I'm going to learn all about limits. And then I would study it and go on a training and so working on my mental health, and then learning how to coach my kids through their feelings became so important once I was introduced to just the concepts of compassionate parenting, that I was like, okay, whatever this is called, where you narrate what someone's feeling, where you're honest with them, you talk it through. There was so much confusion in my childhood. I never knew what was happening. And nobody talked about anything.
Right.
Nobody had language for it.
No language. No one's talking about it. It can be so lonely. So isolating in those moments.
So I was kind of made that commitment that I would be honest with my kids. I wouldn't dump my feelings on them, but we would it would be yes, the dog is sick. I'd just be really honest and talk about the things. Yep, it's hard. Daddy's working this weekend, he's not coming, and that's challenging. Just kind of really narrating circumstances and then naming the emotions, and that's the core of Connect. So Calm and Connect were the things I was focused on.
Question about that: did you have to learn how to do that? Learn how to narrate, learn how to say what your feelings were?
No idea. I think about sometimes when I talk about it on the podcast, I'll say learning language is like learning how to describe water, because we have so many different ways. You can have a pond, you can have an alpine lake, you can have a stream, you can have a swamp, you can have a creek. And when I say these words, they mean something. You picture them, right?
We have a mental model for what they are.
For those things. And they're all water. They're all bodies of water, ocean versus sea. And feelings are the same. It's I know what it is. I know, if I saw a lake, I would know it looked different than a creek.
Right.
But I wouldn't know what's lake and what's creek unless you give me language.
Right. Right.
So I didn't know what it was all called, for sure. And I think most of us don't know what it's called.
I agree. I think, I think our kids are going to grow up knowing, but our generation, the generation below us also, like there wasn't any of that for most of us.
No, there's not.
There wasn't that emotional coaching where you knew what you were feeling and could talk about it. And
when I ask my clients, I'm like, how are you feeling? They'll be like, I feel like I have so much to do.
I'm busy.
And it's like, oh, those are thoughts.
Yeah.
Those are circumstances. Those are situations. That's not necessarily a feeling.
Yeah.
Like the feeling is overwhelmed because I'm thinking I have so much to do. So I definitely had to learn it for myself and then learn how to do it in children's language.
Right.
And I remember learning to do this with my first attachment therapist, Jeanette. And she said, just start sad, mad, glad, scared.
Yes. Keep it to the basics.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, but I didn't do it by myself. I didn't learn it all in a vacuum. I had attachment therapist. I had you. I had people in my life that I could trust that were further along on the healing journey than me. And so that's why I think going into programs like coaching programs or getting a therapist is so valuable. I did a lot of it by myself because I think I've always been an internalized coach.
You've been an internalized coach, and you also go deep into the research. So.
I do. So I think those early years really prioritizing my mental well-being, prioritizing my parenting. Now that I've done it for so long and my kids are grown, sometimes I think we tend to do this when our kids are older and we look at parents with younger kids, we're like, don't worry so much. It's not, relax. They all grow out of it. And it's like, I agree, but I think you do put in the work.
Yeah. You put in the work. You
put in the hours, and it's like these are the years. If you're listening and you've got, 3 to 10, and you're like, no, what I want to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like get it into the emotionally healthy kids class. Like take the class, figure it out, get some tools.
Yeah.
Even a teenager, I think it's never too late. I sometimes will say, my mom started working on her mental health when she was 50. Really growing in it. I think, when she went on to get the medicine that she got and started to find some tools, she healed, and the rest of my family healed.
Wow.
It doesn't really matter when you start. It's okay. You're going to go back and you're going to explain your childhood to your children, their childhood. It's always good. It's always good. Yeah.
It's always good.
It's never too late.
Yeah, for sure. Healing.
So those are the choices that I made and that I think helped me get out of the trauma response, the overreactivity, the hyperproductivity, perfectionism. Almost like, I think toxic stress is how they're calling it. You can speak to it as a therapist, but it's like we have post-traumatic stress disorder, and now there's more language around chronic stress. And then toxic stress is really like kind of the environment.
Right.
And when you think about a little child, and if they're the incubator is stress, then their nervous system is going to be preset.
Right.
And they're going to have to heal their nervous system.
Yes.
And I think that's a big part of what reparenting is.
Healing your nervous system, like taking good care of your nervous system. What that is, because it's different for everyone. Right?
I mean, we have to, but I think I agree, and also I don't, in that we all have a nervous system and it works in a certain biological way.
Yes, it's just finding what are those specific things for you that work best for you. But yes, there's some...
It's like you got to use your body.
Exactly.
I feel like you always have to heal through your body. You always have to heal your thinking. Like if I'm
the belief system.
The belief system. So if I'm walking around the world thinking nobody likes me and everyone's mad at me, and then I better protect myself. Right. Well, I can retrain myself to think maybe not everybody's mad at me. Right. Maybe everybody thinks I'm great. For sure. One of my coaches, she says that she thinks to herself, people are so nice to me. And then it's like people are pretty nice to her.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I can think like no one's mad at me, or it's okay if someone's mad at me. Like I can learn new thoughts.
100%. Like, right? Because if there's those, we all have them. We all have those thoughts. But if there's those deep ones, like I'm not lovable, or I'm not worthy,
not good enough,
or I'm not good enough. Those, So yeah, we can definitely learn to reframe those, or
so just figure out ways to connect with our body, figure out ways to connect with our mind. I mean, that's when I talk on for the podcast. I'm, really wanting to say, like, behavior is a strategy, right? So that we can learn to depersonalize it.
Yes.
And not think it's being disrespectful. They're not being disrespectful, and they're rude, and they're a sociopath, and all things. They're aggressive. Instead of labeling it and judging it, it's like getting curious. Yeah. So I think in parenting we can reframe. That can heal our relationship with our kids, in our personal lives. And then what's the process, right? I think of it like there's clues. Yeah. There's clues
100%
that we're not well.
Yeah.
And we can look at those clues and see them as information.
Yes.
Like if I'm being aggressive with my son, I'm yelling, or I'm being physical, or I'm emotionally checking out, I'm on my phone all the time, not paying attention.
Right.
I say I'm going to get something done and I don't. That I can look at those behaviors and say, oh, something's wrong with me.
Right. Just go to judgment.
I'm a terrible mom. Yeah. I'm a terrible wife. I'm a terrible friend. I'm a terrible worker, or whatever. Or I can be like, well, what's the wisdom in this? What's happening underneath? What am I protecting myself from? What am I running away from? What am I trying to create that's lacking?
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is, instead of judgment, you just go to curiosity. Yeah.
I always think that is the way to like just get curious. Like how am I showing up? What's going on? Yeah. And that awareness is so valuable if we can be gentle.
100%.
It's like I can be really aware of my shit and I can just judge the hell out of it. But that's not really gonna heal me. Right.
That's, you can be aware but not be curious. So you do want to come from that place of, like you said, gentle curiosity.
Yes, just like what's the message with this? What's going on? What do you need?
Yeah,
what
do
are you not
need?
getting? Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I think of that as radical self-love. When I think about the things that have healed me, I have these 4, it's radical listening, radical honesty, radical self-love, and radical action. And I think that when I look at my trauma recovery and my journey, it's like, what do I need? What am I listening for? What do I really want? What's happening here? Being really honest with myself, truly, like not being afraid of what the answers are because of that radical self-love. Right. It's like they all 3 go together. I'm willing to be honest with myself. I'm willing to trust my love for myself and listen to what I'm saying, and then take new action. Right. Which is the result-based part of the work, right? It's like doing the new thing. Doing the new thing, which is not easy. No, that's why we need accountability and coaching and support and
for sure.
Community of people that are doing it with you. And when you take an action or you don't show up the way you want to show up, forgiveness, self-love.
Exactly.
And
go
start
back
again.
to the self-love.
Curiosity again. What was that all about? Let's listen. Let's be honest.
I often think of it as like, it's like showing up for yourself how you want to show up for your kids,
or how you wish the adults showed up for you.
100%.
What do I wish the adults in my life would have said or done? How can I do that more?
How can I do that for myself?
I've been practicing with this concept. I shared it a couple weeks ago on the podcast, but there's this concept called KIST, which is kind internal self-talk.
Love it.
And then I've been practicing with the concept of KEPT, which is kind external parent talk.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah. So it's like
They go
learning
together.
to speak to yourself kindly.
Yeah.
Like that kind internal, like, what do you need? What's going on? You're really, you're really upset right now. What's happening for you? What's bothering you? Or like with parenting, like, okay, this behavior is annoying. What do you want to do about it? Like, let's figure it out. And then whatever you say to your kids becomes their internal voice.
Yes.
So that's why it's external. It's like kind external parent talk.
Yeah.
So when your kid's having a meltdown or they're overwhelmed or their behavior is frustrating, it's not permissive to come alongside and say, what do you need? What is happening?
Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's easier for us to do the external parent talk at times than to apply it to ourselves.
Yeah. That's because you're not a parent coach. I bet you think it's easier, because I know some of you are listening and you're like, it's real hard for me to be nice sometimes.
Well, believe me, like I've had my fair share of times where it's not easy at all.
But we do see our children as children. It is, we do love them unconditionally. Yeah, which is different than what you're saying. I'm teasing you, but it's different than what we do for ourselves, because we're not all that. We're not that kind.
I know, we're not that kind to ourselves.
Yeah. Aww.
Yeah.
So I want to wrap it up. I feel a bit like, I don't know, kind of sad that the episode's going to end soon. Because I could talk to Tiffany all day, every day, for hours and hours about all that. We do. We talk about all this stuff all the time.
For hours.
Yeah. So I think I like to give a little takeaway at the end. Maybe you'd like to offer a little advice, or like, what's your takeaway for healing from childhood trauma?
Well, I mean, I think honestly, Dar, you've been like an incredible example of how someone heals. I mean, I've watched you do it, and I've always just been so like astounded that you've like been able to do that and come from all that you've come from and show up for your kids and all the other mamas like you do. Yeah.
So I guess Tiffany's takeaway is just keep listening to the podcast.
Exactly. Listen to Dar. She will teach you all the things.
So funny.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah. It's been an interesting road for sure, healing.
Yeah.
I think my recommendation for anyone listening is to be so gentle with yourself as you come to terms with maybe your childhood, and maybe seeing how it might be shown, how your maladaptive strategies might be showing up in parenting, and just approaching it with like that gentle curiosity and wondering, what's this saying about me? Where's this pain coming from? What is this? What do I need here?
Right. Right. How was I protecting myself all along? And
then working with a therapist, or joining one of my coaching programs and getting support, because when you have a lot of difficulty in your childhood, you have blinders. I think there's some things that are hard about you don't know what's normal, what's not. You need someone who says, hey, the way you're feeling, that you're being in an abusive relationship with your 4-year-old, not normal. And then it's like, oh, it's not. I like someone who can come and bring that awareness. So getting support, getting help is so important.
I couldn't have said it better. No, it's true. All that Dar's saying, like as a therapist, all that she's saying is 100% true. And I think if we can start with being really kind and curious with ourselves and trying to figure that out and getting the support, you're off to a good start.
Just do it.
Well,
thanks for listening. Thank you, Tiffany.
My pleasure.
For being my friend
always.
forever.
Oh my gosh.
And also being like this amazing gift in my life that I get to have your love and brain. And
it's mutual.
Okay, we'll end the Love Fest.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. If anything came up while you've been listening to this podcast, I'm more than happy to chat with you, and you can book a complimentary consultation with me. I know a lot of you are listening, you can't quite believe that you could get on a Zoom call and talk to me, and you can. You just go to my website, and there's on the podcast there's a place to connect, and you can book a call, and I'd be happy to share more, listen to you, talk about my program, see if they work for you, or refer you to something else if it's not a good fit. Care about you so much, mamas. I'm so grateful Tiffany's here, and I really just wish you the best week.
Yeah, have a good week, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey, Mama, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, I want to encourage you to do 2 things. The first is go to my website, calmmamacoaching.com, and get a copy of the Stop Yelling cheat sheet. You'll get a step-by-step breakdown of the most important tool I teach, which is the pause break. And you'll also get 40 ideas to reset your body and balance your nervous system so you don't have to yell at your kids. You can get a copy of that, again, at my website, calmmamacoaching.com/stop yelling. The other thing I'd love for you to do is go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast so that other moms can discover empowering and helpful, practical parenting strategies, just like you did today. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. It means a lot to be in your ear every week and to support you on your parenting journey.